Welcome back again to the SWAYAM course on Design Thinking and Innovation. This is week 3 and we're going to look at a case study. This case study is a combination of communication design and digital design. So it's week 3, section C3. So topic of the case study is actually teaching culture through storytelling. So that's the project. The student is Asta Cabra. She has done the project at IDC School of Design. Starts with the quote, "Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by as a member of this society." It's by Sir Edward Tylor. So culture is a way of life. It's representation of the way in which we think, that's the value part of it, and how we do things, that's the behavior part of it, and the material products they produce. Okay, so you have both tangible and intangible part of the culture. Okay, so this is a very simple mind map of looking at what are tangibles like buildings, culture, dress, food, art and crafts, automobiles or architecture is part of the tangible part of the culture. Right? The intangible parts are values, ideas, thoughts, belief systems, sanctions, rules, language, and shared knowledge. These are all part of the intangible culture. You can further look at the mind map, look at characteristics of it. Okay, some are learned, some are shared, some are integrated, some are dynamic, some are symbolic, some are adaptive, and you can do further categories of this. So that kind of defines the culture, okay, which has beliefs, tradition, language, stories, religion, music, clothes, identity, food, and heritage. So again, do another mind map. Now, tangible on one side and intangible on the other side. So you look at craft, arts and crafts, the food, flora and fauna, music, paintings, architecture, and dresses. On the other side, you look at festivals, events, dance, people, language, stories, and history. So if you were to capture this, and the students was looking at Rajasthan as the state to do this project. Okay, so you have images, instances of this culture. So some of the things that were important for this study was that many families along with their children migrate from their hometown to urban cities. While trying to fit in the urban lifestyle, they ignore their own culture and native language. So many children are not completely aware about their own culture. Okay, so they can even face an identity loss or alienation from the grandparents and the other family members. So this was a felt need while doing the project. So according to this, the aim was to create space where you could promote, foster, and propagate the cultural heritage and the value system of Rajasthan among children. Okay, so this was the project brief. And now you kind of know the project brief and it's meant for children, so you look at it from a children's point of view. Okay, so for example, how children learn is a topic that needs to be looked at. So they learn it through communications, self-speech, using basic materials, playing from elders and peers, representing ideas and expressions, their support systems, their activities, and by exploring many things. And yeah, so this is kind of the world of the children, if you ask. And there are many different styles, of course, mapped down to the sensories. you have visual, you have oral, you have social, you have self-study, you have physical, logical, verbal. So age group. So focusing on the age group, it's meant for children who are from 4 to 7 years. It's a very intuitive phase. Children seems to be knowing, they're certain about the knowledge they have, and then thinking also becomes more logical. They tend to become very curious and may ask a lot of questions. So they also, have concepts connected to time, space, and quantity, and they have understood this and they can apply it. So again, make another mind map. So there's a physical part of it, the speech and language part of it, the social part of it, and the cognitive part of it. Yeah, so again, you make a mind map of this. So for example, you can ask many questions, okay, like in speech and language, talking clearly and confidently, describe meaning of words, express a range of ideas, good command over their mother tongue. Yeah, some of these, right? Also, the student looked at storytelling for children. So storytelling means it promotes discussion, it promotes development of imagination, can lead to improvement in the language skills. Very important, it can strengthen their thinking skills, both critical and creative thinking skills, and it can increase their attention spans itself. Okay, so storytelling can be very keen to it. So after this, what do? You look at the existing forms of storytelling with respect to Rajasthan. So it has its puppets, it had the fud painting, it has also the kawad, a very unique way of telling stories. It's almost a mobile temple that you go from place to place, but you can construct many stories out of this. So the kawad, for example, means door. There are numerous hinged panels, one after another, and stories are like comic strips written there. So there are multiple narratives. And the person who's narrating this, can actually make multiple stories out of these. He look at the situation, the context, everything, and he's able to weave these stories. So this is the structure. See, it's hinged on to a major structure, and there are doors within doors and within doors. And even at the bottom, there's a donation box. So which will be used for feeding the cows, as it says. And kawad was an inspiration for many people. Here the famous artist Ghulam Muhammad Shah has used the kawad as a structure for putting up his paintings. You can see there are paintings within paintings with doors. Professor Nina Sabnani did a wonderful book called Home, based again on the structure of kawad, which had many doors that you open and you get the sense of your home. The student also looked at how to make things interactive. So interactive puppetry, for example, or the forest or the weather, how one can use their sensories and interact with the information, digitally. So then we come to the stage of ideation. Okay, so of course, the things that were seen were inspiration. So can it be based on the structure of kawad? So it was called as kawad, unfold the stories. So allows the interpreter to interpret things with a combination of things. So it has these doors which you open and the stories are within that. You also have an experimental kawad, a big size one, and there are activities within that. So you go from place to place and look at these facts. Also thought of a conductive ink which becomes visible. So it becomes, at the touch of somebody's finger, there's an audio feedback. and it has 3D pop-ups and audio and light feedback bringing objects to life. This is light sensitive ink, so if you show light on it, it starts becoming alive. So there's a feeling of magical touch to this experience. So it increases the curiosity of the children. So those were the ideas. Those are the 4 ideas. If you look at the K word, unfolding of stories, the experimental, experiential covered, interactive visual narrative, and the last one is the interactive ink, which becomes the board. Okay, so mapped according to physical engagement, cognitive engagement, emotional engagement, and social engagement. And you can see that the second concept seemed to score a little high than the other ones. So that was chosen for further development. Okay, once that is chosen, you needed to fix the structure, the language, the story, the activities flow, and what kind of interactions it can take. There was a form study from Rajasthan, also the visual language, because the colors, textures, patterns are important. So this was part of the form study and visual language study. Then came to explorations. First, of course, explored on a 2D surface with 3D models using cardboard and different structures to put it, different formations. So again, you had concept 1, 2, 3. Basically, they are different layouts trying to solve the same problem. Finally, this was chosen, which had an octagonal structure, 8 sides, and each side actually opens up. Okay, and it has things that you can actually explore and go around it. Okay, so if you take, for example, one of the themes, okay, so it becomes a panel in the center with doors on either sides and activities. So that is one part of the octagonal. If you go to another part, it has another part which has to do with water, and the third part which has to do with pots, right? So all the 3 are intervened into each other to show a lifestyle. Similarly, it has objects that you can actually turn, you can play around and create sound. There are stories here from Rajasthan and interactive, videos that you can actually look through. Okay, so if you look at it, activity plan wise, it has the stories, it has the interactive things, it is going around this octagon. So each one has an activity mapped onto something that you can tangibly do, touch and do, and then it goes on to experiencing the whole topic itself. So these are shots from the actual prototype which has been done. Followed by, there was a takeaway which the children can take with them. Okay, so this was that very simple puzzle which you put your fingers in and you can flip-flop them, and there are words and images and you can combine both of them to tell stories. This is the feedback that came out of this. Yeah. So it was very engaging for the children. They liked the activities. Yeah, and for example, can you show me the puppet dance again? So if I move the chakki, will it make rotis? Yeah, so these are typical children's question. They asked also a lot of questions. And yeah, the game itself was very interesting for the children. Okay, so again, it had a lot of questions. Why is it blue in color? They played many times, okay, and they put their own names to the symbols illustrated. The topi, sorry, I chose the pagadi. Okay, so some of the feedbacks are these. Thank you very much for listening to it. So this was a project which started with studying aspects of storytelling, children, understanding the context and choosing Rajasthan as a spatial configuration, then trying to understand the arts and the culture with respect to Rajasthan, and then trying to ideate different solutions, coming out with many solutions, comparing them and choosing one of them, which was basically an interactive installation which was based on an octagonal structure, and you could go into each of the sections of the octagonal and look at different aspects of culture. And these were communication design. That means that they had posters along with interactivity. So it was a combination of digital and graphic design. And since the children would go, touch and play with these, okay, so it was very experiential. Okay, very simple project, started with understanding the subject, following secondary research, primary research, then coming out with the ideation and coming out with solutions. So thanks a lot for listening. This was section C3, week 3. Let's summarize. So we've done the design process for week 3, secondary research and gathered information and got the references. We looked at the 5W and 1H tool. Optionally, we created the matrix table, applied on to the topic that you've chosen, and then looked at a case study. Let's look at week 4. We continue with the secondary research, and then we look at a new tool, user participant mapping. We apply it on to the project, and then we look at another case study. This time it's going to be a product design case study, design of a pesticide sprayer.